thanks for that as always, and even just thinking on what I was bringing forward and what I was saying as far as the Israelis and the Palestinians, but specifically the Israelis in that perspective, never having peace, and those words being echoed by one, I think he was the second or the third president of Egypt, of course, and very close to His Majesty in many international affairs, the one Gamal Abdel Nasser, or Nasser of Egypt. And, again, another very interesting relationship that was formed between he and His Majesty during those times upon the freeing up of Africa in that sense. And, a very bold, a very outspoken, forthright from what we have been able to research about former President Nasser. And, again, just echoing those words of His Majesty in those very trying times. And it just, again, just adds to, the effect in which we are seeing today as, the tables continue to turn in that particular sense. But, just leaving that on the table for one to definitely research, but also keeping in mind, our ones and ones who also occupy those lands at this particular time, as they have always from certain times, and the ones, of course, who have made their return. I'm speaking of the Beta Israel, of course, who have made that trod from northern Ethiopia and central Ethiopia to the state of Israel, to certain parts like Tel Aviv, Jaffa, or Jaffa, as of course we know today, and Beit Sheba, and the Be'er Sheba, certain parts of the state of Israel where they, of course, are still living to this day. And, of course, we can't forget about our other brothers and sisters, of course, who, made the trod even from these shores, searching the scriptures and, of course, fulfilling certain parts of the prophecy to that extent, and are living in that southern region of the Negev Desert, or that particular region in southern Judea, as we would know it scripturally speaking of my brother Ben Ami Ben Yisrael and the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. So those are ones that we definitely should keep in our prayers at this time, even more intensely, as things are certainly getting much more interesting at this time. Hoping that ones will be able to survive, as, of course, it is said in Scripture anyway, but still, we lean on our hope and expectation for ones to pull through at certain times to come there in that land of Canaan, as per the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that has survived throughout those times as well. There in the Geneta Aden, ironically, there in Jerusalem, set in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre there in Jerusalem. A very, very interesting study just for ones to study for themselves in that sense indeed. I think we mentioned it once or twice before, but one should definitely check that out again, and that's the movie Exodus, which spoke specifically on the European Jews and that formation around the time of 1948, forming the state in that sense, of course, getting the okay from the United Nations and certain other Western powers in that time. And we, refer to that many times because it still kind of gives away a little bit of the truth in the movie in certain places here and there. And just seeing before the European Jews, the German Jews, ever even stepped foot in that particular region, as so they claim. They were there before the Ethiopians and the other Africans was there the whole time.
Pray the eye to the chair. And when we speak on what's the known history about it. As we're about to get into another subject and topic matter, I think this has to be said because some of us know it, but it's probably not being said loud enough and said long enough and often enough. Even the brother you mentioned with the particular relationship or NASA, a lot of those things, it's good that's getting out even among some of the other camps of Israelites and Hebrews about what he said about you left here black and you return here white. there's all these hints, like in a mystery movie or something like that, or book. There's all these hints going on. But the real half of the story is us over here in this North Country and in the other countries, this remnant here. That what really fell short that caused part of this paradigm to happen was how our movements, the black and the brown Hebrews and the black Jews of Harlem and the Israelite movements were very heavily involved in pointing to that land as their land, while the European Khazarians and the rest of them were looking at Uganda and other places, and then also the work that His Majesty did in that, as Ethiopia stood, I could call it, what they call neutral, that it abstained on the vote for the state of Israel, and that caused a lot of concern because everyone knew that the Jews had served His Majesty. I mean, I know this sounds bugged, it sounds crazy. How are you going to say that the Jews, the white Jews, in what way? In the same way that the Edomites served David. It's interesting, at the end of David's reign, the Edomites started a little bit of trouble, but Jah held the Edomites at bay until the end of Solomon's reign. And then he had brought in Hadad from Egypt. He had put Hadad over there, even seeing the political moves of the Almighty. But the real half of the story is really us on that level, because a lot of people think that the state of Israel was just the white Jews involved in that. But it's like we got distracted over here in the Americas. I just want to put that out there on Front Street. We got distracted, in the United States of America with some of the things that were going on over here, so that Jewish, so-called European and black relationship, it really needs to be seriously investigated, and we need to get past some of the abhorrations, of Esau, so that we can really recognize what has gone on and see what part we play in our own future and futures, according to the prophecy. Just to put that out there right there, because, Brother Dr. Ben, in that book, We the Black Jews, it's a very important document that has a lot of historical evidence that really shows you how much the state of Israel is ours, just as is, as it is theirs, but we got diverted into Democrat politics and other things. So then that would explain, that's why they push us for the Democrat and a lot of these other things, and we see, the Jews who call themselves Jews involved in that, the secular, worldly Jews involved in that, distracting us in those politics. But if you see where we were as a people and what direction we was moving in, that whole Ethiopian, Hebrew, and Israelite identity direction from the 1930s and 20s and even the 40s and 50s, and then it kind of fell off. Now many of us, we pick up on that at this time. You hear what I'm saying? And some of our parents might know about it. Some of them might not know about it. But anyway, just wanted to point that out right there. It's the other half of the story, that I think is really important. The book Alliance and Alienation kind of points to that on the African continent east of the River Nile, the Ethiopia side of it. And Dr. Ben's book, We the Black Jews, Witness to the White Jewish, race myth, gives a lot of evidence, to show you how heavily involved that we were. But then at a certain point, we just fell off. We went back to sleep. It's like we woke up, around the 1930s, the coronation of the King of Kings, the Roaring '20s, Marcus Garvey. We was even more awake with the fascist invasion, and then somewhere along the line, we just fell back to sleep, and now we're awake again, in a sense. What we're going to do. Anyway, thank you, my brother. Thank